Okay, so what I've just done, we had some technical difficulties, but I'll catch you up. I pulled my Ashford traditional spinning wheel over here next to my table, connected the yarn to my ball winder, and wound it straight off of the bobbin onto the ball winder. So now I have a center pull skein that I know will fit back on this bobbin with no problem, because that's where it came from. I left the Scotch tension attached. I just loosened it, so that was good because I could go fast with the ball winder, and I didn't have any backspin because the Scotch tension was preventing that from happening. So now I've got my lead pulled through the orifice, and I spun my single this way, so I'm going to ply going in this direction. Going to make it a little more tension so it sucks this thing in. I'm not going to have my leg underneath like that. Okay, so grabbing my lovely ball of yarn off of there. Plying is my favorite part of spinning. Part of the reason for that is that I don't know if you can see, but I have a little pile here that I have drafted that I haven't spun yet. I like using hand-dyed roving, and it's really cool to see how the colors mix together when it's being plied. So I have tied a little knot in the end of my leader, and what I do is I take both ends from the middle and from the outside of the pull center ball, I hold them together, and then I tie them around this piece of yarn, and that little knot on the end keeps it from slipping off. So now I have that tied around that, and I just slide it down to the end. And now I start holding the ball in my left hand, and I can control the tension of both parts by using the fingers on this hand. And I'm going to go ahead and start my wheel spinning. I have it on the slowest ratio right now. So now I'll just ply for a little while, and my camera operator can hopefully get a good view of how this is working. It might be a little tricky because I'm using both hands and they're not right next to each other, but you can see with my right hand I'm pulling the two pieces of yarn away from the ball, and with my fingers on my left hand I'm controlling the tension. Because if you have one part that one of the two pieces has more tension than the other, then they won't wrap around each other the right way. Sometimes you want that effect, but it's nice to be able to control it. And when the ball is big like this, it's trickier, but once the ball gets pretty small, it's easy to control. And somebody was asking, in fact, I asked the question when I was first shown this technique, because you have to have the spin the right way, and I said, well, you're spinning from both ends of the same yarn, so one of them is spinning one way and the other one's spinning the other way, right? How come they can be plied together? And they said, don't worry about it. Don't think about it too hard. It works. That's all you need to know. All right. I've plied most of the yarn back onto the bobbin. We just cut it out so you didn't have to watch me do all of it. And now you can see what I'm talking about, that it's easier when you get to the end because the whole ball fits in my hand and the yarn is feeding through my fingers. Simple piece of cake. Can you see how I'm holding it? Turned upside down. After I said it was so easy, then I messed up. Sometimes when it's real fluffy like this, it just sticks to itself a little bit. Ta-da! And I just have it looped around my finger here. Now it's all on here, as promised. Fits perfectly back on the bobbin. Now I'm going to loosen the Scotch tension a tiny bit. This is my niddy noddy. Brilliant thing about niddy noddy is that it will measure the yarn for you. This one, when you wrap it around one time, which would be like that, equals 1 yard of yarn. I have another niddy noddy on the way to me that I'm pretty excited about because it's adjustable. You can either have it measure out 1 or 2 yards of yarn, which will be nice because I have this idea that once you have a lot of yarn on here, it's not as accurate because the yarn is piling up on itself, and so you actually have more than a yard. So now the yarn is all on my niddy noddy. I grabbed the 2 ends and I just twist them together one time, and I'm going to wrap it around the back. I do one of these knots that's really easy to pull out so that when I'm ready to use it, I don't have to waste any by cutting it or anything like that. Don't want to waste a single inch of hand-spun yarn. And oh, get it off. It's nice and springy wool, so it stretches and comes off. And here's my finished stuff. Just twist it a couple times, bend it in half, stick one end through the other end. Now it's a beautiful skein. Okay, once your skein has been washed to set the twist and is dry, it's nice to have your grandmother's cedar chest to keep it in. This is my treasure box of stash. My hand spun, hand dyed. I've got recycled yarn. I have brand new skeins of yarn that I have accumulated. And the problem is that I'm moving in about a month and I cannot take all this yarn with me because, believe it or not, this isn't it. I have at least twice as much as this. So if you check out my Ravelry page, in my stash, in the trade or sell section, most of this yarn is in there, and check it out. You might see something you like. Thanks for staying tuned for my plying segment in my spinning demonstration on YouTube. And stay tuned because I think I'm going to do a carding one next.